Thank you, Honourable Speaker, sir. Honourable Speaker, sir, I thank the Honourable Viampili for this question. Mr. Speaker, sir, this government is doing more than any other government has ever done. Order. I like telling them, sir, because, you know, they're like we actually don't need any bait on our fishing line, sir. They just catch it all the time, sir. So if you bait them, they'll catch it. This government, listen, this government, Honourable Speaker, sir, has done more than any other government has ever done with respect to the shipping industry. Let me tell you something that some of you may not know. At government shipping services, at one time, the Honourable Prime Minister will confirm this, we had about 40-odd ships, sir. But when we came around, we were only left with, I think, single-digit numbers. Probably 2, I think it was. That's how bad it got, sir. But nevertheless, sir, we are here to ensure the protection of our shipping industry and the safety of our maritime travelers, sir. Yeah. Shipping accidents, marine accidents, Honourable Speaker, sir, are something which is prevalent not just in Fiji, but across the world. And Mr. Speaker, sir, international data shows that marine accidents killed about 1,163 people and caused about $197 million in insured losses in 2017, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, in Kiribati in 2018, it actually experienced one of the worst maritime accidents that has happened. The MV Butiraoi broke apart and sank. Unfortunately, sir, 95 people remain unaccounted for in this particular accident. The Commission of Inquiry into this incident laid out about 15 recommendations, most of which, Honourable Speaker, sir, were on safety. These included the prohibition of drinking alcohol during working hours and regular inspection of life-saving appliances and stricter laws on ship inspections. In December 1987, Honourable Speaker, sir, the Philippine ferry, the Doa Paz, collided with the Vector, a small coastal oil tanker, and according to the National Maritime Museum in the UK, only 24 of the 4,317 passengers actually survived. So this is serious business, sir, which this government takes very, very seriously, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, to address maritime matters and accidents, international conventions are actually introduced by the International Maritime Organization, to which Fiji is a party. The ratification of these IMO conventions is then nationalized into our domestic legislation. The Fijian government, sir, has introduced the Maritime Transport Act 2012 and its 34 corresponding regulations, with all the focus being on safety of our seafarers and our maritime dwellers. Mr. Speaker, sir, since 2018, the total number of marine accidents recorded was 53, of which 3 was within the Nabouwalu waters. Mr. Speaker, sir, the inspection and safety checks begin at each port before departure, sir. These include checks on all life-saving appliances in accordance with the law and the number of passengers and cargo on board a vessel. They must be maintained at the statutory required number, and also in terms of tons. The Marine Safety Authority of Fiji, also known as MSAF, operates 24-hour marine clearance services at Natovi, Nabouwalu, and at Suva, sir. All registered ships, Honourable Speaker, sir, in Fiji are required to undergo different types of surveys, such as a 6-monthly survey, a normal survey, periodic surveys, and special surveys, which include underwater surveys and also dry docking, sir. Fiji, like the 174 other nations which are under IMO, is actually obliged by conventions such as the Convention on the Safety of Life at Sea, commonly known as SOLAS, and the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, commonly known also as UNCLOS. and it's applied domestic legislations to conduct investigations for the purposes of determining the cause of accidents, incidents, or mishaps at sea. Mr. Speaker, sir, the objective of such investigations is to report on the cause of accidents, incidents, and mishaps to enable changes in the international and national regulations that will assist in prevention in the future, sir. The Maritime Transport Act and its corresponding Maritime Regulations 2014, its investigation and inquiry procedures, requires that all accidents, incidents, or mishaps at sea must be reported to MSAF, which then conducts investigations, and the recommendations of these investigations then prompts the actions taken by the Minister responsible for transport and the CEO of MSAF. Mr. Speaker, some actions that have been taken actually include the revocation or suspension of maritime documents or ships' masters, and this is of course dependent on the outcome of the investigations. I'm being very thorough in answering this, sir, so that everybody knows in Fiji what is actually happening. As earlier stated, sir, the purpose of these investigations is to report on the causes, and also it helps us identify the way forward in terms of improvement. You know, we're improving voice communications from ship to ship, ship to shore, and port to port, and this has been identified by us as something which requires immediate action, sir. To address this also, MSAF is implementing a second phase installation of a very high frequency, commonly known as VHF, for 7 stations, which includes Raki, Levuka, Nabouwalu, Lambasa, Sabsabu, Taviuni, and Navua. And 4 stations have already been installed with VHF, and these actually include Suva, Natovi, Denarau, and Lotoka, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, to enhance the search and rescue capabilities also, MSAF has entered into an MOU with the Republic of Fiji, the Military Forces Navy Division, and this is to provide efficient assistance to those in distress at sea, sir. Furthermore, MSAF has also been conducting relevant training of officers of the Fiji Navy who will be appointed as authorized enforcement officers under the Maritime Transport Act 2013. In May, Mr. Speaker, sir, 2019, MSAF actually enforced the audit for safe ships management systems, which is called SSMS, for ships with gross tonnage of 500 or more, and by the end of 2020, we'll have a full implementation and enforcement of the SSMS. SSMS is actually structured and documented system which enables ships and shore-based personnel to implement the owner's safety and pollution prevention policies in accordance with International Safety Management Code under SOLAS. I'd like to reiterate, sir, that the work in maritime shipping industry is a coordinated effort, Mr. Speaker, sir, between the private sector and government to ensure that safety is prioritized at all times, sir, and this is incumbent on everyone, whether you're a passenger, whether you're a regulator or vessel owner, to support the ministry and MSAF in its efforts to promote maritime safety, sir. I thank you, sir, for the response.
I thank the Honourable Minister for